Hello and welcome back to another tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to be designing this wheel layout, and according to the instruction, your instructor wants you to create this part using a sketch that is fully defined. It wants you to use the revolve method, and it wants you to use the circular pattern to create the hole and this shape over here, this pattern. And at the end we are going to create a section view. So let's start a new part file. Click OK. And let's change our unit to inch. So under document property unit, make sure it's an inch, and I can select the number of decimal places I want and click OK. So under the sketch tab, I'm going to select sketch. So I have all my planes. I'm going to start my sketch on the right plane. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw, because this shape is a little bit complicated, not really complicated, but sometimes you need to just design it as you go. So I'm going to draw this much sketch for now. So something like this and something like this. And I'm going to add my dimension. So from the top to the bottom is 10. In SolidWorks, that creates the scale for our drawing. So that way, when we start adding dimension, things don't start breaking. The 10 is right here. So this 10. So from the bottom, which is here, to the top is 10. So now we can add this dimension, which is 3.75. Good. And what else can we add? We can add this dimension from this line to this line, which is 1.25. Good. And that dimension is right here. We can continue to build this. So the next thing we can do is add this, something coming down, and that. For now, click this line and that line, add a parallel relation, and let's add the dimension for that, which is 0.6. So from this line to this line, make sure your dimension is aligned, and it is 0.6. The distance up there is 0.7. This dimension is 0.7. So I'm just building everything as I go, so we don't have anything that is breaking. Good. Let's draw this line, just right there. Draw another shape, something like this. So let me add that line. And now I can add my dimension again. So I'll select this line and that line, add a parallel relation. This point and that point is horizontal. The dimension here is also 0.75. The entire distance from this line to that line is 6.25. The dimension here from this line to that line is going to be 0.6. And as you can see, things are starting to move around, so we just need a couple of more dimensions. So this point and this point are horizontal, and so we can add the dimension here from this line to that point is 8.75. Again, that's what I was trying to avoid, because when you start adding things, if yours is moving around, just move the line back. And this point and this point are also horizontal to each other. So we are kind of filling everything in. What else do we need to do? And we can drag this down and just add a line come in this way, and we can draw the rest of that shape. That is what I mean by complicated, because sometimes you just have to fill your relation and dimension as you go. We need to add more dimensions. The dimension from this line to this face is 2.5, right? So we can kind of move that out there. So that's 2.5. The dimension from this face, this line over here, to this face is 1.25. So that is down here. Let me move it where you can see it. So 1.25. We're just going to keep filling everything in until we have pretty much everything. This point and that point needs to be horizontal. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. And this line is 1.25. So let me move it around and see what I need. Okay, I need this dimension over here. And that dimension is going to be 7. It's given right here. So from that point, this point to this line is going to be 7. And we have a fully defined sketch. All we need to do is select this point and add a horizontal relation. So let me move it here so you can see everything. Just going to rearrange this. You should have something like this. One last thing we need to add before we revolve this is we can add this cut over here. Let's draw a circle. On this origin point, just track it out somewhere over here and draw your circle. So click the center of that circle and your origin point, add a horizontal relation and add the dimension from your origin point to the center of that circle, and the dimension is going to be 0.7. So that is given right here, 0.7. And let's trim it. So we are going to trim this off, and let's trim this part off too. So it's going to break your sketch, but that's okay. Just click this point and your origin point and add a vertical relation. That should fully define everything. The only thing we have to add now is the radius for this. So we'll select a dimension, add the radius, and the radius is going to be 1.3. I have an extra line over here. Instead of trimming this line, click this line, make it a construction line, and let's just add another line over here. So from this point to that point to fully define our sketch. So good. So now we can come to our feature, revolve, and we have that part and we click OK. Good. I'm going to increase my image quality. Where is it at? Image quality. And click OK. The next thing we want to do is add our circular hole. We can use the hole wizard to do that. Select your hole wizard. And first, let's define the dimensions. So it is going to be a counter bore. So select the counter bore and make sure you select show custom sizing. The true or the smallest hole is going to be 0.6. The next hole is going to be 1.2, and the depth of that hole is going to be 0.7. So make sure you have all this option in there and change this to up to next. And once you've set that, come to your options tab, positions tab, and select this face. So I'm just going to go normal too, so you'll see. So I'm going to select that face, and it's going to give you this option, and click once. Once you click once, press escape. So you've at that point and press escape. So now let's draw a circle, right? And so move your point somewhere down here. Let's add a dimension to our circle. So the dimension is going to be 5. So I'll select 5. And that is given right here, 5. So now all we want to do is add another line. So add a line coming up to that center, to that line. To that circle, and add another line touching it like that. Select all the circle and the line and make them all construction line. And let's add a dimension from this line to that line. Your dimension is going to be 36. So that's like your angle, which is given right here, 36. And now select that point you create for your whole wizard, and this point. Holding down the control key, select both and add a coincident. So that's where we want it. And once you are done, select OK. And there you go. You've created your hole. So now all we need to do is create a circular pattern for it. We come to circular pattern. For the perimeter, we want to select any circular edge. So I'm going to select this circular edge. Features to pattern. We can come down and select our counterbore O. It's five of them, and it is equal space, and we are going to click OK. So the next thing we need to do is cut this shape in. So again, we'll select this face, sketch, and number 2. So I'm going to move my sketch over here. Come down to your counterbore hole, click on the drop down arrow on it, and you see your sketch 2 that is showing the circular sketch. So right click on it to show it, because we are going to need that sketch to make this profile. So the first thing we want to do is draw a line from the origin point going up. You can just draw a vertical line touching that top point and click that line and make it a construction line. Then draw 2 circles. I'm going to draw 1 circle, something like that. I'm going to draw another circle. I'm going to draw another circle, something like that. And the next thing we can do is draw another line. Draw another line here. So a line, something like this. Click that line, and the 36-degree line on that sketch. So select both 2 lines by holding down the control key, add a parallel relation to it. So now we can add the dimension to it. We can add a dimension to it, but draw another line that is coming here. So a line coming here, touching the outside like that. Make that line a construction line, and add a dimension, an angle between those 2 lines. And that angle is going to be 72. It is right here, 72. So we're going to add 72. Good. The next thing we want to do is add a dimension between this line, which is given over here, between the 36-degree line of this hole and this edge. So this line represents this edge of this pattern, and it is 1. But because this is a chamfer, because right here you have 0.2 chamfer, and when you break the chamfer, it is going to break it out. But I'll show you what I mean. It's kind of complicated to describe it. So I just want you to click this line and that line and make it 1.35. And I'll show you why this line is 1.35 when we are done creating it. And now select this line. Now come to select mirror entity. Entities to mirror, select this line. Mirror about, select that line, and click OK. So we have the profile for everything. Now we can start trimming everything out. So press trim. You want to trim this circle. You want to trim this excess line over here. All we have to do now is add the dimensions to our circle. And this is going to be 6.5. Oh, where did it go? Okay, let me add it again. 6.5. And that is given, I believe it is over here, 6.5. And the bottom one is going to be 4.25. And this too should be symmetrical, so we can select this line, and that line, and select the symmetrical. So, because those should be symmetrical. So we have a fully defined sketch. Hope that wasn't too complicated. So we have this dimension for the bottom and the top, and we have a dimension that is going from this line to this edge, which is what is specified over here. And the center line for this part is the 72-degree angle. That is why we mirrored it from this side to that side, because this is the center line. So now we can come to feature, extrude cut, and we are going to extrude cut up to next. So up to the back, and click OK. Good. So the next thing we are going to do is add a chamfer. So right here, there's a chamfer on this edge, which is 0.25. So we'll select chamfer. Make sure you change to 0.25. And we will select here. Let me try distance by distance. So I'll select 0.25 by 0.25. Because it doesn't give the angle, so I'm just going to select those two. So use distance 0.25 by 0.25, and click here, and click this edge. I believe that's a chamfer, but please verify with your instructor. But that is a chamfer on that edge, and I'll click OK. Good. So we have that. The next thing we can do is add our radius, which is 0.5 on the inside. So we'll select fillet 0.5, and not on this face. We want to add 0.5 to this edge, that edge, this edge, and this edge. Good. And click OK. So the next thing we want to do now is we can mirror it. So let's click on this eyeball and hide it because we don't need it anymore. So we create a circular pattern, not mirror. So we'll select this perimeters, select any circular edge. Features to mirror, come down. You want to select your cut, your chamfer, and your fillet, and click OK. The reason why I made that dimension 1.35 is because the dimension is telling you that from the very edge, which is pointing right here, of this part to that other part, it is 2.2. So let's measure it. So if we come to evaluate, measure, this edge to that edge should be 2.2, which is 2.2. So that is why we add, our dimension was 1.35 because it was 1.1 plus 2.5, which is the distance of the fillet. So that was how we got the 1.35. So I just wanted to show you that. And we are pretty much done with this part. The only other part that I'm not sure about, and please verify with your instructor, is that there is fillet. So we'll come fillet, and fillet is 1.5. So I'm going to select 0.15, I mean, and I'm going to add it to here. There's one on this edge. There's one right here. And I believe there's one right here as well. And click OK. But I also believe there is fillet on this chamfers, but I'm not sure. So because this detail is not too clear, so please verify with your instructor if there's fillet on that chamfer. So all you have to do is come to fillet and select those edge, and you can add fillet to them. So if you just select those face, it will add the fillet to it. So you can do everything for all those pieces. But I'm not sure if there's fillet on it, but please verify with your instructor. So the only thing we need to do now is create our section view. Again, we'll come to section view, and we want to select the zonal, and on section 1, select the right. On section 2, select the top. So that is how you create the section view. Then come back to the zonal. This is only half of it, so we can select this and that to hide those 3 pieces. So we have something like that. And click OK. No, before you click OK, click Save. And I'll just use this as the default and click Save. So if you need to access it again, it is right here. So you can press Escape to exit out of the section view. And if you need to get the section view again, click on this view and click this section view, and you'll see it right there. So that is how you create this part. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.